Welcome, everybody. How is everybody doing today? It's a little bit different of an event that you guys are used to seeing us. It's not a podcast, it's not just a talk. We are actually starting a summit, hopefully, something that we can use towards the future. Basically, it's a summit uh, pointing towards esports, streaming, and mental health and the mental health of um, our our streamers, our gamers, what they can do to, kind of stay sane, kind of, try to stay healthy mentally. It's not just physically with the whole everybody talking about staying hydrated and all that stuff. The mental aspect is extremely big. And for everyone who is watching us, I thank you for coming. To start off, I just want to, give a little thing. The past couple of years, maybe 2 years, probably a year before COVID, there were a couple of high-end streamers and players that did mentally not, basically mentally, they weren't able to cope with the stress from streaming and gaming at high levels, and they basically did commit suicide. Very big names, actually. I'm not going to talk about these. I mean, they were talked already about enough, and I think families need, you know, not us to talk about their names specifically, but to talk to what they went through and to try to kind of help people that are going through the same thing. Um, Esports is a very mental thing, so you do get drained very easily. Me being a streamer and everybody here at the Long Island Gaming League, most of us are streamers, and if we're not streamers, we are gamers. So there is that mental part. So we are trying to give a little bit of awareness towards this, and make sure people don't forget. We have two panels for you today. This will be our first set. Then after this set, we're going to have a little, intermission, and we're going to bring on the rest of the people that we have on the next panel. So we have lined up for you a lot of good guests to talk about this. Probably know this a lot better than me and have different aspects of what's going on. So on our first panel today, we have with us Jackie Lamb from Minnesota State University. We have Alicia. I don't want to screw anybody's name up. Alicia Munian is a gamer and meditation teacher. And we have a streamer by the name of Go Jaeger. Twitch. Um, I'm gonna leave it to you guys one by one. Let everybody give you a little bit of time. Let everybody know who you are, what you do. Um, give you a little bit, a couple of minutes just for everybody. So Jackie, you're up first.
Thanks. I'm Jackie Lamb. I'm the head esports coach for Minnesota State Mankato in Minnesota. I kind of act as the director, administrator, and coaching for a couple of our teams. We have 10 teams that we'll be recruiting for and trying out at the end of July for our fall semester. I'm very excited about it.
Very good, very good. We really appreciate you coming on here, bringing your expertise, especially that you do work with the esports team. You're able to bring something that us personally don't have, because you don't have the actual gaming view. You have the outside view of being able to figure out how to help your players when they do go through this kind of stuff. So I really appreciate you coming around, and we hope that you can give a very much better inside view of what it is to actually be an esports player and deal with mental stuff. So we really thank you for coming. Next up is Alicia. Alicia, let everybody know what that is.
My name is Alicia, and I'm a meditation teacher, and I'm also a gamer as well. And I believe that, meditation is one of the avenues to helping to heal yourself when you're under a lot of mental stress. And actually, personally, I dealt with a lot of depression when I was younger, and meditation for me was the avenue to healing myself. And actually, I also turned to gaming at a lot of points too, to help to kind of like relieve a lot of anxiety and stress that was happening. So there's definitely a lot going on in the gaming community, and I think it's so valuable to have this conversation, and it's so great to like gather together and really discuss how we can overcome these barriers that are now presented to us through COVID, because right now 54% of young adults age 20 to 30 are experiencing depression and anxiety. So this conversation is so necessary and needed. So thank you for hosting us.
We appreciate you coming in and giving your point of view and through your expertise of how to be able to deal with this, and especially given your personal experience. We really appreciate you having you here.
Thank you so much.
Not a problem. Next up, last but not least, we have Jaeger. Jaeger, what's going on, my man?
Hey, how's it going? My name is Jaeger. I use Go Jaeger on Twitch. I don't have any professional or schooling experience, just a lot of lived experience. For about the last 14 years, I've had depression and anxiety on and off. And maybe even as recently as 2 months ago, I had like really bad issues with ideation, dealing with the similar kind of stuff to some of those big names we were alluding to earlier. And between therapy and pharmacological interventions, exercise, sunshine, and friendship, I've been able to overcome a lot of those issues and grow a lot. And I even started a Twitch channel. I've streamed 4 times, so I'm brand new. I don't even have enough streams to qualify for affiliate yet. But that's what's on the docket. I've gotten a lot of support from a lot of communities. I'm even in one community as somebody who just offers themselves up as someone you can talk to. So I just lend an ear to people. So when I saw the opportunity to jump on this panel, I was happy to come give my perspective. So thanks for having me.
Not a problem, man. We appreciate it. Me and you are roughly on the same boat in terms of that. I did also, when I was younger, I did go through a lot of anxiety and depression and stress, and not from the gaming perspective, but from the regular world. And I did try to use gaming. I did use gaming to try to channel away from all the bad stuff, and that together, of course, is still with a little bit of psychiatry and like you said, friendship. That also helps a lot. I mean, not being alone. The worst thing that I think for somebody who's going through that is to be alone. I mean,
Yeah, for
although
sure.
sometimes you do want to be alone, you want to be in your corner, but that's probably sometimes the best thing is not to. That's when the worst ideas and the worst stuff come into your mind.
Everything in moderation, right?
Oh yes, that's for sure. That's for sure. Okay, so now everybody has been introduced to the public. We are going to jump into our first question of the day. So, do you believe that gaming is a good outlet to relieve stress or to take a break from the real world? And if so, why? We're going to start out with Jackie. Jackie, what's your point of view on this question?
I definitely think it is. I think that it's kind of in the questioning itself. Taking a break from the real world, you're able to immerse yourself and become a fantasy character or just have fun and work with your friends, family, anyone else from across the world. And video games can do that too. I actually had a player this past semester who, because of the grind got too hard for him, he switched over to a different game to play for a little bit just to help alleviate some of his own stress and just to have a little bit fun, because grinding a game can take a lot out on you, and moving to a different game or a different platform can really take your mind off of it and to help you just relax and have fun.
For sure. I mean, yeah, that's a big point of it for sure. Um, in terms, just to push a little bit more on this question, in terms of, do you see in your team itself, do you see them channeling other games outside of what they actually play with, like, you know, Minecraft, stuff like that. That's not actually something that they would probably be do competitive. Do you see them using that also as something to try to escape from the stress, or do they just use the game that they actually play professionally?
I think when it's their grinding game, like League of Legends, they have a little bit more stress for that. And so they definitely are going to other games like Minecraft or even Rocket League, just a game that they're not very good at, maybe, that they don't have the skill for it. And so that they're just having a little bit more fun. And, Minecraft is a great example, or The Sims, trying to build an entire world. I see people doing that all the time now. And it's crazy how you can build an entire Harry Potter or Westeros world. Those are just crazy to me.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And even just the whole thing of you creating a character and even having the possibility of try to kind of make them have a life in a way that probably you would want to have, the career that you would want to have, and try to live what you want to live, but through a character. Or, I mean, even Minecraft. I've seen people that are not even architects or anything like that, and they're able to. I think it's the other day I saw somebody made up the castle from Disney and stuff like that in Minecraft, stuff like that. It's crazy things that you would do with games, and it, it kind of helps you push your mind away from stuff. So yeah, that's for sure. It's just,
It really does.
and especially with you guys, you dealing with the esports team and the stress that they go through besides the studying and school and family and finances. They have to deal with the competitive playing. I mean, it's I can imagine what they have to go through and the toll that it is on them mentally. Um, but yeah, thank you for your answer. Appreciate your point of view. We're going to move on to Alicia. What is your point of view on this question?
So, I definitely believe that gaming is a great outlet to relieve stress. And actually, personally, in my life, I've taken up some more casual games when it came to me feeling extremely stressed out about my external world. So, I started off when I was younger playing The Sims. And actually, I grew up in a very difficult home life. So, gaming for me was my escape from that home life. It was an avenue where I could just have that opportunity to experience something else beyond my reality. So I was able to create a new family in The Sims. I was able to, do all of these things that I didn't have access to in my normal life. And I also believe that there's a lot of great positive communities in the gaming world as well. I made so many friends through playing World of Warcraft and Fly for Fun. And those became my actual best friends at some point because I was actually being bullied at school. So all of these outlets kind of helped me to connect to the real world by disconnecting to the real world, if that makes sense, because gaming is like sort of an avenue of connecting to people through the internet and through a fun way. And actually even met people that I dated online, and it's funny because you're able to actually interact with them in a deeper way as well, just being in wherever you are, because I've met so many people who are in the middle of nowhere and don't have any friends that think outside of the box, but gaming allows them to have that outreach and kind of expand their mindset and see who's out there in the world too. um, I currently play Stardew Valley. That's one of my favorite games right now.
Okay.
And it's such a great stress reliever. And right now, I basically live in a very city like area in New York. And I'm someone who always resonated with the countryside, resonated with the farm lifestyle. So because I can't go there all the time, Stardew Valley is sort of my virtual reality outlet towards that, which is so interesting because what you're doing is literally allowing your mind to escape from your current reality. That's what gaming is. It's putting your mind, your consciousness into a different framework. So you can play a very relaxing game and be in that same framework of relaxation that game kind of emits, or you can be in a war zone in Call of Duty and then suddenly you're playing that role. So gaming is all about like stepping into whatever role you choose it to. So in the same way, you know, it can be stressful if you're putting that pressure on yourself, right? And if you're like, okay, I'm going to do this because I need to kill the other team and I need to do this, you're literally putting yourself in the mindset of that soldier, right? But at the same time too, it you can, like, you know, play more relaxing games and have the opportunity to just kind of like unwind and like connect to a virtual reality nature or something like that. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's like you say, it's like yeah, you go on Call of Duty, you think you're just going around shooting people and stuff like that, but no, you are trying in kind of a way living in behind. Even the way it looks, I mean, you're looking at a game, you're seeing your hands in your gun, you're not seeing
Yeah.
a physical body in front of you, or you're not seeing it in third person. It's a first person shooter, so it's
You
technically
become the
you.
soldier. That's what
Yeah,
gaming
exactly.
is. You step into
You,
it.
you're living the life of that soldier right there, live or die. I mean, yeah, that's for sure. I mean, you 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 can stress from the game, but it's you're playing non-competitive. It's the stress has nothing to do with even with the regular day of like driving in traffic or stuff like that. It's once that little game that session you're playing right there is over, the stress is gone. You know, on to the next game, on to the next session. On it's it's different. It's something that doesn't stay. It computes for those 5-10 minutes and then it just erases. You know, it's like a fish. The fish has what is it, a 15-second memory, something like that. My memory. It's the same thing for those 15 minutes. Then it's gone, erased. On
Yeah.
to the next. No, for sure, for sure. I mean, it's and you did touch that point of the bullying, although it wasn't online bullying, but being that you were bullied in school and you use the gaming community as a way to escape from that. That's also why we are having this kind of a summit, is also towards those things. I mean, uh, it's gaming can be used to try to help people even get away from real life bullying, not just cyberbullying. It's a very powerful thing, more powerful than people actually think. And you having that experience, it I mean, I can say from humanity's point of view, we're sorry for what you went through, but the good part is you're with us, you're smiling, which is it's a very it's a very good sign. Um
Definitely. And
and
you know, at the end of the day, I'm grateful for the gaming community and for how much it's helped me to grow in a lot of ways and connect to people all around the world. Like I said, you know, gaming is an avenue connecting to people that you would normally not have access to.
for sure. Yeah, that's the whole thing. You can be talking with people from the other side of the world and getting their point of view of something of a different total culture, but that they're probably dealing with the same thing as you, and you can see how they deal with it or they work through it. It's yeah, the gaming community is good and strange, because you deal with strange situations too when you talk those kind of things. But yeah, appreciate your point of view, Alicia. We're going to
Thank
move on to Jaeger. Tell me what you think, man.
Yeah, for sure. I really appreciate everybody's insight. I think these are really good perspectives. In some regards, I'll be echoing some of the things that we've already heard, but
Mhm.
the way that I think about it is that you're trying to disassociate from your own mind, because I think when you're living in the real world, you're dealing with all of the stresses of daily life, right? You can almost overthink things, become too introspective, or just feeling trapped. And it's nice to have those escapes, um, getting away from those internal thoughts and giving them time to just relax on their own. Whether you're occupying the headspace of another character in an RPG and just trying to role play that life, or if you're focused on the mechanics of the game, um, it gives the like real life part of your brain that's stressed out some chance, some time to cool off and some time to process subconsciously. So yeah, I think that gaming can be a really good distraction away from that. And then when you return to deal with the stress of life later on, um, you'll you'll be much more prepared. You'll be in a better headspace to approach a lot of that stuff. Um, I would say that there's a limit, there's a balance. We were talking, we mentioned briefly that everything in moderation, right? Um, it is very possible to get too involved in these games, and I have a little bit of history with that. In my younger years, I was like majorly addicted to World of Warcraft. We're talking 14-hour days. Not, I would say we went a few hours, a lot of few hours, too far in the other direction. But I think that if you have that good balance of, hey, like for instance, I just got home from work, I'm feeling pretty stressed out, I'm gonna play games for an hour or two, just relax, let my head clear itself, and then when I come back to the real life things, I'll be in a better mind space to actually process them and start making progress on that stuff.
For sure. I mean, yeah, it's those days, the Minecraft days. Yeah, me wasn't Minecraft. It was more Diablos and stuff like that. Playing
Yep.
3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning. It's fun. It's fun. Yes, you play those extra hours, but the extra hours do also kind of make a toll on you. I mean, it mentally it mentally drains you because you're tired, and then I mean, I personally, in my point of view, in terms of that, I personally felt I was a little bit more susceptible to like when people would say stuff in the game. I mean, you do have toxicity and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
it did feel like on those longer nights that those kind of things actually would affect you in a different way than if you would be fresh, just starting playing, not stressed, and that it's like you were saying, everything in moderation. I mean, sometimes what's too much is not too good, and gaming is good, but when you overdo it, sometimes it doesn't help. Like
Yeah, for sure.
I see these guys streaming like 24 hours. The other day, I saw one of my favorite streamers playing 48-hour stream.
Yikes.
I'm looking at him and I'm like, how? How do you mentally even? How are you even capable of going even half of that or a quarter of that? 48 hours. I mean, without resting, it's
Yeah, you have
even
to imagine the toll that
yeah,
that takes, like the amount of mental fortitude and how much preparation you would have to do to get through something like that, right? And then
yeah,
you have to wonder when they do finally turn the camera off and like sit back in their chair and ask themselves like, well, how do I feel now? They have to be just like totally wiped physically, mentally, and like the recovery for that has to be pretty immense. So
no, for
kudos to
sure.
people who can pull it off, but I don't think that that's uh, the healthiest way to go about it. Maybe it's good for viewer engagement or whatever, but
Yeah,
as far as self care goes, maybe not the best idea.
yeah, probably you probably have to have a lot of years experience and probably have done it before, and you know your limits. It's like, okay, I'm able to do this. I'm able to go this far. I mean, not over even just not overdoing it is probably the thing, but still, it's just uh, I couldn't do it, and you don't see many people doing it, but you know, it's it's not it's good and not good. It's good for viewership, but it's not good for your mental health.
Agreed.
Thank you for your point of view. Thank you guys for your point of view on this question. We're going to move on to our second question. Second question of the day is going to be: do you think mental stress is an unspoken part of the game of esports athletes? If so, why do you think it is? And what do you think are the most common signs of mental fatigue that a player can have? We're going to start again with Jackie.
Hi again. um, I think it's gonna be in any sport, not just esports athletes, but definitely for everyone. And some of the signs is definitely gonna be if your players are becoming toxic, if you're not able to perform the way that you should be, um, and just in general, just not having a good outlook on it and taking that break is what my players I've seen need to do. Like I mentioned before, my player just couldn't handle the workload and the grind, and so he needed to take that break. We actually spent a good half an hour, 45 minutes talking about it and how he didn't want to let the team down because he was just at that breaking point. And I told him just, don't go to practice the next time. Just take a break, play some other games, don't play games, just have a life, and it really helped him reset and refocus. This
Hmm.
is Scar, by the way.
Mm.
But I feel like those are just things that's gonna happen anyways, because if you're on a grind playing like the WoW, like talking about WoW, um, you're you're gonna get stressed and you're gonna need that break because no, how many times have you had to craft things or find materials for crafting and just going in the same circle over and over to find the materials for that, and that can get stressful too.
Yes, it can. That's for sure. I can personally say I play a game. I play a game called Escape from Tarkov, which you have to find certain things to evolve or for tasks, and it's things that have. It's not like you're gonna go into a raid and it's gonna be there. There's like a 10% chance that it's going to spawn in the raid that you are. So it's like you could probably go into 4 or 5 raids and you never find what you need, and it just keeps on getting more and more stressful, adding to the whole other thing of you're playing a shooter game and you're gonna die, you're gonna this, you're gonna that. Yeah, it's like you say, the grind. The grind. I like to use that word when I stream, but I don't think a lot of people really understand the actual meaning of it. Um, and you personally, like you said, dealt not personally dealt with the grind, but dealt with somebody who, um, kind of in a way couldn't deal 100% with the grind, that needs to take the it's there's no shame in that, because no, not everybody is built for that kind of thing. It's not it's not an easy thing. It's not like work. Like, you got to do it, you just do it. When you're doing something that's almost like a hobby to you and something that you enjoy and you have to deal with the grind, it's you burn out totally. I personally have dealt with it, not in that kind of a perspective, but it's just like the stress of the game and stuff like that. You get to the point that you have to took like a week break. I couldn't, not the streaming part, but the actual game part. I and in your situation, you're dealing with players that professionally play these games, and they compete, and they have a team that they have to play with. I mean, how did what did you have to do to help him deal with it personally? What did you have to do exactly to deal with it?
We have mental health coaches and sports psychologists that are volunteers that we have open hours for our players to go and talk to them. If I need to send them to it because I feel like that they need to, I will. Otherwise, they can DM them themselves and set up times. I think it's really important to have those on any collegiate team or just any team in general, because you need someone, an outlet to talk to someone, and they might not want to express certain things to me because they feel like that I might not understand, or that I might get upset with how they're reacting to things. So having that outlet to talk to someone else, I think, is really important.
For sure, it's like we were saying about friends and having people to talk to. It helps. I mean, it psychiatrist is not just somebody you go to get to lay down on a chair, just talk about your stuff, and they write stuff in the book and they give you medicine. No, it's almost kind of as a friend, and when you deal with that kind of stuff, and you don't have a friend that has that kind, not a, how am I going to say that doesn't look into your situation as, yeah, that doesn't have the skill set to deal with it outside of the friendship. You need somebody who's neutral, that has the skill set that those kind of doctors have to deal with it, which is, they have that outside view and they have the professional view and they know how the mind works and the brain works and all that, and they know how to deal. They have you know ways to cope with it, and that's the good thing about how you have things set up, and however basically every esports team has everything set up, is they do have those kind of people to deal with that stuff. So at least you don't have to deal with it. You actually have somebody to deal with it. That's the good part. But I appreciate your point of view. We're going to move
Thanks.
on to Delisha. Go ahead. Your turn.
Hi, everyone. So, I definitely resonate with a lot of the points that Jackie made. And anything that you're doing competitively, there's going to be some added stress on top of that, you know? So it's really about that framework and the mindset that they're going into. If they're scared of losing, they're going to put this added pressure on top of game, and it's going to put them into a different framework where they're not just doing it for fun, they're doing it because they want to win or they don't want to let the team down. So there is that aspect as well. One point that I was actually thinking of in this discussion is like my own personal sort of interaction with getting over competitive in gaming. So in my experience, like when I was younger, being a female gamer, I was friends with a lot of guys, and they would kind of be like, "Oh, you're not a female gamer." And they would basically kind of like make me have to prove myself. So in that, I had to like be like, all right, I'm gonna get to level 60 in World of Warcraft before any of them. So I would like super grind all night just to do this. And I remember one time we were all playing Maple Story, and which is an MMORPG 2D side scroller. But there was basically this thing where it was like kind of a party quest where you had to like do this party quest, which lasted probably about like 30 to 40 minutes, and you had to do it over and over again 100 times in order to get this item. And we basically started this contest where like whoever got the item first was like the winner, and there was like no actual prize. But then me being the girl who was trying to like prove myself, I literally stayed up for 32 hours straight to get this. And I got the reward before any of the guys did. And I went to school and I was like, "Yeah, guys, I got it." And I'm like literally dark circles under my eyes. I like got no sleep at all. And I'm like, "Yeah, I did it." But it was like kind of like an empty reward. I was like, what was the purpose of that? Like, why did I actually do that, you know? So I think in that way, like anything can be put to the extreme when you really like put it into your mindset and mind frame. And I think that a common sign of mental fatigue is like you feeling like you don't enjoy the game. Like at the end of the day, like you're supposed to enjoy gaming. That's the purpose of it. It's supposed to be to relieve that stress for you. And if you kind of get yourself into the framework like, why am I playing this, and your eyes like literally hurt from looking at the computer all the time, then it's time to step back. And I think we kind of touched upon this with just finding the balance between your real life and that game, because it's so easy to suck you in, especially when you have like an online friend community as well. There was one point where literally like all my friends were online gamers, and I had like no friends in real life. And I think that when you push yourself to that extreme, then you miss out on aspects of your real life where you're just inside gaming all the time, when you're missing like, oh, what's it like to go to the movies with my friends or something like that. So you could definitely push it to different extremes. But yeah, I think that an interesting conversation is that added stress for female gamers, and also and kind of like that kind of pressure to prove themselves, like, yeah, I'm actually a gamer, and just finding that balance as well.
For sure, for sure. Appreciate your point of view there. The female point of view is very strong, that's for sure. I can imagine how much suffering you guys have to go through just to try to mentally think. But it's a
We
stupid
also
thing,
get
but it
things
happens.
in World of Warcraft from time to time too,
Right.
so
For sure, for sure. Appreciate your point of view. Next up, Jaeger, your turn, buddy. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, hearing about the female perspective for sure. I have lots of friends who just feel like, they have to work so much harder just to prove themselves, just to get that like baseline level of respect that is just like granted to male gamers. So I feel that. I hear that a lot. Um so my tact on this question is a little bit different. I think of uh, especially when you're talking about competitive gaming, if you like really want to win, if you're really trying hard, um, there's a major disconnect between what your mind is experiencing and what your body is experiencing. And I think that you build up a ton of adrenaline in your mind, and Well, I guess it builds up in your body, but you're not really using it, right? You're working with a controller, you're working with a keyboard and mouse. Your brain is going a million miles an hour, and you're processing information, and you're trying to like coordinate and strategize and all of these things, but your body is just sitting there, not doing anything. And so there's just a lot of tension that builds up inside your body that's not going anywhere. And I think that that can just really add a lot of wear and tear to your body because it doesn't have anywhere to go. It just all the adrenaline just pools up and sits there. And so I think you can have a lot of stress and anxiety that you're not really sure where it's coming from because when you're in the game, when you're competing, whatever it is, you're so focused on something and making progress on a goal that you're not paying attention to the fact that your body just it wants to move, it wants to go, and it's not getting any of that feedback. So I think a way of dealing with that is just getting more exercise. I know that's kind of like a common trope when it comes to mental health is like you need to exercise more, but it's a very real thing. It's easy to just say like, oh yeah, sure, whatever, I'll go exercise, but you have to like sort of realign your body with your brain after experiencing that major disconnect, because if you're gaming for a couple of hours and you're just like really getting after it, but then your body's not doing anything, uh, that's going to hurt you. And so you got to get that body moving and try to realign it with where your head's at.
It's funny. Everything nowadays is exercise, but it's like you say, you are sitting around for a while, and that exercise does help relieve, even if just the tension itself. But yeah, no, it's exercise can be used in so many ways, and this, fortunately, we can do that because it's something you can. All you need to do, even if you just want to go for a walk, it helps. That
Yeah, for
definitely
sure.
helps. It definitely
Getting
helps.
a little vitamin D.
Especially
Definitely, for
nowadays,
sure.
for sure. Yeah, for sure. Appreciate all you guys' point of view on this question. We are going to move on to our third question, which is, what measures do you think we as a collective could take to bring more awareness to mental health and push a more acceptive narrative? Jackie, you're up.
I like this question, and the reason is because that's exactly why we're having this summit right now, is talking about it. And I think openly talking about it more and more will make it more acceptable. I feel like when I was growing up, my parents and family, mental health was kind of like shush shush, like don't talk about it, like keep it behind closed doors. You don't want to tell someone that you might be mentally unstable at the moment, and it just kept building and building, and people become more toxic. I think if we openly talk about it more and give people and like my players options to express themselves and to talk to people and for it to be okay, then it's just gonna be more acceptable and not uh take, or when people are toxic and saying things even just to a female gamer, like something simp, like that's not okay. Like you're just, you need to make it not acceptable. So I hold a zero toxicity policy for all my players, and I'm very strict with it. Everyone knows about it, and I pretty much give them one chance if it's not too bad of one. But that line has to keep getting pushed back, because if you have a toxic player just saying one thing, it can really bring a whole team down, and you need to watch that, and you need to reprimand people for that. You need to not make it acceptable. Um, that's my little spiel.
Oh, for sure. The toxic part, that's very important, especially with you dealing with a college. Yeah. It's 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 something that you have to keep your eyes on, especially because they do represent the school. So yeah, it's very important. It's just funny. You have communities that are more toxic than others, but that's a very big part. That besides toxicity, to me, toxicity pulls into it. It brings bullying right behind it. It's they're side by side with each other, and you just got to get rid of it. And, you know, but I appreciate your point of view on that, Jackie. Alicia, your turn.
So for me, it's really interesting because, gaming for me was an outlet of finding a community I can express myself when I was dealing with my own mental health issues. And I found that the community that I found online was pretty open about discussing mental health. And a lot of my friends in that online community were also dealing with mental health issues. But I definitely think that there needs to be more open conversations that take place about mental health and avenues that would help them to, give them basically ways that they can heal themselves, ways that they can meditate more. And for me, finding meditation was really what helped to heal me. And I found that because I played a lot of fantasy games, that I was able to meditate more easily than other people. So actually, when you do meditations, you're using like these subconscious parts of your brain that might be activated while